But do we have any questions for any of them?
Yeah, Terry, what's your geography? I may have missed it in the presentation. What area do you serve?
Well, all the events that happen in Illinois, from Red Lake is when they have, that's where one of the big fishing tournaments is down Red Lake, and then all the way up into here. They get veterans from all around the United States. Now, majority of them that I've met that really stay with the organization, they have around here, Jared Pope, he lives up in El Paso. He runs the fishing segment of it. When he came back, he's the whole paraplegic. So he runs the fishing program. And the staff, everybody's local. The soldiers do come in from all over though. They get a lot of their names from sporting expos. People signed up through that kind of thing.
Any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
Where is the sporting expo that they?
They've done one in Iowa, over in Indianapolis. They've gone over to Indianapolis to a big sporting event over there, like a hunting expo, like a hunting expo. So they'll set up a booth there, and then they get the names. People sign up to want to come do one of their events. So they get a lot of them from there.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's from One Hope. I was just wondering, how do you guys, I guess, deal with or battle when you have, women coming in, men, and I guess there's so much focus on social media and what you look like and how thin you are, and how do you, I guess, help someone through that? I know that's it's whole kind of piece of itself.
Yes, it is a mess. Yeah, so we fight against a lot of things like we call diet culture or social media. And so when we actually first started, we would talk a lot about body positivity and learning to appreciate your body for what it can do and love yourself where you're at. But over time, it just started to feel like it's not really easy to be positive about your body. And so really starting to focus more on body neutrality. So learning how to first just respect your body. If I asked you, to write down a list of 3 things that you just, you were standing in front of a mirror, you hated about yourself. And if you gave those to me and I read those to you, you might be like, yeah, that's how I feel. But if I said, hey, look at me and read those to me and say it like you mean it, like you're telling me, Hillary, you, and you list those off, you wouldn't do it because that's mean, that's not nice. And so we start the conversation there of so if you wouldn't do that to your friend, why would you do that to yourself? And so we start talking about more body respect, neutrality, focusing on things outside of beauty, and that ideal body image for men and women, because they both exist. And so we kind of start there, because we do focus on the behaviors, but also the mental health side of things, because until we can fix how we see ourselves, we're kind of putting a Band-Aid on the behaviors. So I hope that answers.
No, it does. Thank you.
Jason?
Yeah, TJ, I've actually got one for you here. So I remember DARE as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Does that even still exist? One, do you partner with them, or are there preventative things that you get involved with?
We are not partnered with them yet. There is a program in Peoria called Thrive, and a gentleman there, it works with school children. And he kind of does the same thing, tries to get the kids off the street and into a positive. And he is one of the people that we are working with. He actually helps high schoolers, because a lot of our kids, especially in the Peoria area, don't ever go to college. They go to high school and then they find their first job. So part of Thrive is taking those kids and help getting them into the workplace, help getting them into trade skills and things that can help them empower themselves for the future. So our hope is to work with Carl to then take our Hope for Hooligans kids, plug them into the Thrive, so it will just then push them to the next level after completing Hope for Hooligans. But yes, DARE is very much kind of like Hope for Hooligans. DARE, I believe, don't hold me to this, but I remember back in the day signing one of those parent contracts with my parents. That was a long time ago. But yeah, so.
Very cool.
I also have a question for TJ. So what type of youth are you looking for? And is it just to go through the program, or just to hang out in the center, or can you talk to that a little bit?
Kind of all of the above. We are going to start off junior high and high school level, but we will be developing I don't want to say dumbing down, an elementary school version of Hope for Hooligans as well. So that's kind of our focus group to start off with is going to be junior high and high schoolers. That's kind of junior high is when Buddy started getting in trouble because, like I said, 17, he got arrested the first time. So starting off with high schoolers, people were like, "Oh, you should start with high schoolers." No, it should not. It starts way before that. Trust me, because I've been there. So yeah, we will start the older kids, but and it's all of those things, getting them off the street, getting them into the center, teaching them the computer skills. Like my 14-year-old, he's all about becoming a videographer. I guess that's what you call it. He's currently at the age of, he's not even 14 yet. He'll be 14 in July, and he's already helping friends edit video at 13. And so we want to empower those kids and give them those skills, give them something, to look forward to. That's why we're going to have music workouts, the computer classes. Because not every kid, every kid's different. Every kid's going to be looking at something different. And so we want to give them a variety of things to help them.
I have a quick question for kind of all three of you. We're looking to make a donation to potentially one of your three organizations or someone else that we hear from between now and the time we donate. What is there a specific program or what is a way that you would see yourself using our donation? You can start.
Since I got the mic,
Yeah.
We, like I said, we're in the developmental stages right now. So we would use the funds. I already have the funds for a great computer system, which we're working on getting. My next thing would be to get the course digitized and videoed and out on there, because that's going to be our greatest reach, to be able to reach out, not only locally in the community, but further out as well. So that would be my next step, would be to get that website up, going, and the course digitized.
For One Hope Project, there's lots and lots of plans for One Hope, but I would say for the immediate is really using funds to increase my counselor's hours. She's part-time. Like I said, we have a waiting list. And when someone's ready to reach out for a lot of different things, but eating disorders being one of those, when they're ready to get help, you really have to capture that moment. And so it just feels awful to put someone on a waiting list. So being able to use that to increase their funds. And then also, my board members would probably kill me because they really want me to pay myself eventually. But I'm like, I got one more position that I'd like to see filled first. And that would also be to get into the schools and do more of the prevention education and awareness and training and doing the outreach. So it would be for those two things.
I'm not really sure how to answer that because I'm not really part of HOOAH, so I don't really can't say what they're actually needing. I know Tom's, he's been around for as long as he has, 11 years. And he still finds a lot of people in this area that don't know much about it. I know he's talked about getting his website. He just got that already done, so he wants to make awareness. But I think just reaching out to other veterans and let them know there is something local that they can do here. I'm just out trying to find some people sponsored for an event we got coming up, and I ran into two ladies at two different places that I went to. As soon as I brought it up, one of them said that she's going to get in contact with her dad. Didn't know there was anything local that sounded like something he could really do. The other lady, she broke down in tears because her sister is fighting PTSD at this moment, and she's in a really bad place. So just letting people know that there is something here. It is local. The events are all done locally. So and I think Tom would really like to find more local veterans just here in the area rather than have to reach out throughout the United States. So that's where I think that he would probably use most of his money, that he can start getting it more local. And see if maybe for 11 years is something you've never heard of.
Probably towards more events, most likely.
Yeah, he's got done with a fishing event at Lake Evergreen, that fishing tournament up there, that 15 that's there. They got the Clinton bass tournament that they just started that 3 years ago, so they got that event going through them. They sponsored that themselves and put that on it. So yeah, they just letting people know that there is something for veterans right here in Bloomington. Normal.
Any other questions? Paul, you have one more?
Yeah, Hillary, that is a two-part question. How many people will you be able to support this year? And do you have residential services or plans to?
I'm sorry, what was that? What?
Residential services or plans to?
That's a good question. So last fiscal year, so we run January through December, we served 63 people. And so far, just even from from January till now, we've already served over 40 people. Yeah, and like I said, we have a wait list. So really increasing, which is good, because I knew that there was that was something that was going on in our community. So it's nice to just now be able to share that with people to show them. As far as residential services, that is something that would be wonderful, because part of the problem is for people now, they have to travel. There is something in Peoria. There is like an inpatient and a partial hospitalization program. But the problem, and then there's obviously Chicago, St. Louis, or some other ones we refer to. But even Peoria, in that 45-minute drive, partial hospitalization program, so even not necessarily residential, but ones where they wake up early in the morning, they drive there, they spend all day, and then they come home around dinner time. And that's the only time that they're at home. As you can imagine, for those of us who have jobs or if they're in school, that is really just not very convenient. It really wouldn't even be convenient for them here to be like, you have to come to our, office from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., but at least being local would be helpful. Being honest, I don't know, is that a 5-year plan, is that a 10-year plan? But it is definitely one of the things on my list. I don't want people to have to travel to all these different locations to get help. But in the meantime, not only do we refer, but we also work with a lot of those inpatient treatment facilities, so that one, we make referrals, but when they have someone coming out of treatment, they contact us. So that we can help bridge that gap, so that they have somewhere when they get home to continue on with the services.
Great. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering, actually, this might be maybe for the ladies possibly, but I'm sure there's gotta be something as far as education with schools, because I know that, there's kind of different facets. Are you guys supported by the school systems here as far as like education, reaching out, with parents, uncles, family, and then possibly for the children themselves? How do you guys kind of work together? And are you getting enough help?
For us, we haven't done a ton of outreach only because of the capacity, not having the capacity to be able to get out there and do it consistently. We have worked with Western Avenue previously to provide some, prevention education there. We've also had them licensed dietetic interns provide information to the families on nutrition and stuff. But I have had a conversation with a local elementary junior high school who has said next year, hey, come on into our health classes and start teaching in the health classroom. We've worked with some of the area high schools, and that hasn't been as much prevention education at this time, but more of, hey, we have some students and we'll go to the schools as well. Last year I actually had a high school, it was either the nurse or counselor, and she said, I don't know what is going on after this pandemic, but I could put you in an office here at least once, twice a week and just send someone in right after another. And that was just one local high school. So I think they're open and we've given presentations. People are open definitely to working with us. It's just, again, the capacity of what we have time for. So that is one thing that I'd really like to see going forward.
As far as Hooper Hooligans, like I said, we are in developmental, but that course, our goal is to have that done and ready to digitize by the end of July. So that then I can start going into local schools here in Peoria and here in Bloomington as well. And doing it in such a way that it's gonna be like a Hooper Hooligans rally with the kids. And where I'll do a presentation, share everybody's story, and set some challenges out for the kids to get involved, and also be sending out that parent contract with those kids. And then there'll be some kind of incentive to get them to bring that back, whether it's, a Hope for Hooligans hat or, something to signify that, hey, I made this commitment. I'm not gonna drink, I'm not gonna do drugs, and, you know, I'm committed to, you know, the path of Hope for Hooligans. So, by fall, we will be going into the school districts and be beginning those routes by fall for this next school year.
Did you have anything to add, Carrie? Okay.
They really don't reach out to high school schools or anything like that, what they do. I don't think there's, I don't know how there would, or how veterans school would be.
Well, I guess if you have like a family member, or if you have, you know, a father or an uncle or a grandfather that served, I mean, because I know that today's youth is, sorry to say it, massively unaware of maybe the sacrifices our past generations have done and even our current ones. So I was wondering if they kind of reach out as an education programming for the kids that haven't experienced it yet for, you know, what has actually happened and, you know, how to kind of treat vets and how to be respectful and mental health and, you know, what to do if you have a relative, kind of from that perspective.
Yeah, they haven't done any of that I know of. I mean, I guess it might be a good
idea.
thing to bring up.
Opportunity. Yeah.
It's a good opportunity.
Awesome. Very good. Well, thank you guys. I would love for you all to send to one of us, whoever invited you, just like some ways that we might also be able to help you non-monetarily. If we decide to go with somebody else, how can we still help and support? We would love to have kind of a list of those things as well. So, yeah.
Maybe give each one a chance to spend a couple seconds on how volunteers might help the organization.
Yeah, just to that point. Okay, yeah. How could we help you non-monetarily?
Non-monetarily, getting the word out, of course, for Hope for Hooligans is gonna be a huge thing once it really gets launched. We will be putting together fundraisers and, you know, youth rallies and things like that. So once those start launching, it's gonna take a lot of volunteers to be able to actually make those happen. But he does have a huge family. I said we have just 9 hours of adopted, so there's 13 kids that range from 36 to 13 and 36 grandkids. So we have a huge family to help, but that's of course not enough. Like I said, just getting the word out for Hope for Hooligans, I think, will be the main thing. Or if you have a school that, hey, I would love to see this in my child's school, by all means reach out, because I would then reach out to those schools first. Or organize any kind of youth organization. Youth group at churches, you know, boys and girls clubs, whatever youth contacts you would have would be fantastic.
For us, it would be, because, you know, we are a really small staff, we also, if somebody, you know, somebody who has their licensed counselor or therapist and they want to volunteer their time to, whether it's take on a client or two, or we are launching the dietetic program hopefully fall, and that will be a volunteer-based. We won't have the funds to hire a registered dietitian, so we're recruiting those folks to help volunteer to work with our clients. Also, we have support groups, so we have adult and teen support groups, and there's really a need to expand those in a lot of different ways. And so being able to have people who you don't have to necessarily be a therapist or a counselor, you have lived experience, and that means whether that's personally yourself or knowing someone and how it's affected you. We obviously have people well trained and equipped, but somebody who want to get involved in that way and helping with support groups. We have an amazing volunteer who helps us now with that. And, I don't want her to ever leave me, so I need more people to help. She's amazing. Yeah, and then just getting the word out, those referrals, joining our board development team. I am also launching an ambassador program, just working on fine-tuning what that looks like, but essentially that would be someone coming on board to help us with those connections in the community. Hey, I know someone who would love to help, you know, like for instance, Ryan's done a great job with all of our marketing stuff, and that was because someone referred me to him, or Joey with insurance, you know, having those connections. So an ambassador being someone who knows people, can help get us connected, and yeah, and then help also raise funds. So even if they don't want to give themselves, you know, they can give or get for us. So just a lot of different ways. I'm sure I can come up with.
Like I said earlier, like all the fundraisers that are put on are usually put on by individuals who do the events. They got a golf outing, They got a little one down in Clinton called Friends of HOOAH. And these are people who just got to know these people really well. So all their events are just put on by volunteers. So the way you can probably help is if you decide you want to do a fundraiser. I mean, it's all volunteer. All the events that are put together, we pretty much, each person that puts it on, we've all got a lot of help already. But getting the word out would be probably how you can help us the most, is just, if you know a veteran that might be, have some problems and just really needs somebody to talk to, Tom and his staff will, they take a phone call any time of the day or night. They got soldiers that they've helped throughout the years who give them a call in the middle of the night, hey, I'm having problems, Tom, and they will drive from here to wherever. They've done it many times. Tom just shared a story with me 2 weeks ago. He got a phone call that one of the veterans that attended one of his first events committed suicide 2 weeks ago. And he said that's not an unusual, it happens. He's been very fortunate with the people that he's working with, the soldiers, that I think this is the first one he's had. So just getting word out that, there is a local veterans thing if they need help. And you guys have all got connections. I've got connections through my business, and if you're business owners, or we've all got connections. So I think that's probably the best way you guys can, if you needed to, wanted to help, would be the best thing that we could probably ask for.
Awesome.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Gary, what is, like you said, 10%? Like, what is like a low end noise? PTSD qualified?
Yeah. Yes, PTSD. PTSD. They don't have to be like totally disabled. I mean, it's very minimal. They just don't want to turn away a soldier because just because they don't have 50% of a disability of some sort, doesn't mean they don't need help. And that's what they're looking at. It's like if you're a soldier and you think you need help, you probably qualify because they're not going to turn you away. The only thing that when they do the vetting, depending on what they want to do, they want to see if they have something that's going to maybe trigger them, like when they're on a hunting trip. Now they don't do shotgun, they do trap shooting and that, but deer hunt is all bow and arrow. So not very many things will disqualify a soldier. If they want to get in, more likely you're going to be able to.
Sure. Okay.
Good stuff. Okay. Just a couple, you guys can go ahead and have